Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Lines Forever. We're on Palms with ZLO as Seraphim and Mephi. It's the UEF. May already know that the beta is updated with a lot of changes. I recommend you watch Patrick's video on the subject. It's very in-depth. It explains pretty much everything. And there's also patch notes, which you can find on the patch notes site. And let's get into the game. This is just a short one because the videos have been coming a bit slower recently with all the beta work, balance work being done, and I'm a bit hungover. So let's see. ZLO is walking to the Hydro. His ACU uses ACU to get some reclaim. It's pretty good to use the ACU to reclaim. It's actually, especially reclaiming trees and stuff, because you have so much more range than with an engineer. It's a lot quicker than an engineer walking around reclaiming all this stuff. So you can like walk to here and click all the rocks. So someone said I need to zoom in less, and that's, well, zoom in and out less. Very true. I've sort of forgot about how bad that looks on a cast, so I wasn't paying much attention to it. I will try and pay attention to it in the future and in this cast. So Hydra is done. There's a Selene over here for ZLO, and what's it gonna do? Oh, he's going to the back. So you can toggle. There's a button down here usually when you're not an observer, and you press that button, and then when the Selene stops moving, it will go cloak and stealth, so it can only be spotted by Omni, and it drains 5 power. So as long as you don't stall, then the Selene is invisible to everything except the ACU and other things with Omni. So don't try and hide it where you expect the ACU to go. You can put it on a mass point, and that will block the engineer. The engineer will just stand there stupidly, not be able to build a mass point. And a lot of players take a very long time to realize what's happening. Bomber is out for Mephi. Inti on the way for ZLO. He went land then air. I think Mephi did the reverse, went second air and then land. We have adjacency planned here for this base, and the bomber is moving to the top. So let's see, does he find a target? There's no engineer out here yet. Unlike Mephi, he's more advanced. Actually, you can see he already has 2 engineers expanding to the bottom and another one coming to get the Hydra. So even if he gets raided here, he has more engineers as backup, and this bomber looks to kill the engineer. Oh, he just escapes. That was very close. Down here, the engineer gets dropped. The striker is gonna die to this Bam Selene combo, but it doesn't matter. It did its job. Got the engineer, and now ZLO is gonna be a lot slower to expand down here. That was the only engineer expanding to any of these mexes. Up here, he's expanding with 1 engineer. There's the second one. AC is still in the base building. I don't really like that, but that's just how ZLO plays. Interceptor being reclaimed in the base. That's spotted. This tank has a kill. I'm not sure what it killed though. And I feel like I'm a bit laggy. Let's see. So ZLO looks to have some air advantage, thanks to the city being left in the base. And this tank is trying to get in behind, but ZLO is wary. So he probably need to give more orders to actually make sure he takes out this tank, but it does look like he knows what's happening. Does he have a radar? A good place to put a radar in this map is actually back here in the back of your base, and you can see quite a lot around this area in the back of your base. So if you are getting raided in the back, that's not the worst place to put a radar. This is a nice raid from ZLO. He's going to take out this engineer, probably be able to kill a couple of mexes, and if he's quick he can kill this engineer before it gets this edge build factory, which is used to secure the plateau. A raid over here. There's a dead engineer. And the tanks are going to continue streaming past. He's not going to be able to catch these. Looks like very slow expansion, but I don't see any dead engineers for Mephi, so I'm not sure what happened here, but he's pretty slow to this side, but I guess ZLO would have been faster than him if he hadn't lost the engineer in this area earlier on. One tank keeping guard in mid. I guess ZLO will send an engineer to mid pretty soon. And actually he's catching these tanks at the back. You can see he caught this guy. And over here, see no tanks have made it past, even though there's about 5 tanks streaming this way. Very nice catches from ZLO. That's sort of... This map really teaches you a lot about... well, the importance of early game micro, being able to catch as many tanks skirting around your opponent's army to find that engineer that's expanding, dodging with early engineers, and so that you can avoid bombers, and hiding behind stuff so the tanks can't kill you. All that stuff is very important here. Because it's just so open and your bases are quite close to each other, so it's 10x10, but the bases are very forward towards each other, so you can get raided very quickly and in many positions. And there's so many mexes that you lose the wrong engineer at the start, and it could snowball if you don't get enough compensation and kill your enemy's engineers in a similar way. Mephi should have this plateau now. There's actually a shit ton of trees, and I think people never get them really, but you should try and reclaim this stuff. It's worth it. You can think of like putting down a factory in some positions, like factory can be many things. It could be like a defensive structure, so you put it in an expansion, and then if you get attacked there, the factory is going to soak damage and also allow you to regain it faster by building engineers out, so you can re-expand to locations quicker. It can also be like an economy building. If you're say you build a factory up here just to make engies and then get the reclaim, then it's sort of like an economic investment rather than a military one like these guys in the base are, which are built just for making tanks basically, and maybe engineers later on if you're switching to different techs, like maybe you want engineers to upgrade to Tech 2 Land or Tech 2 Air. That's a pretty nice raid. Will he be able to take down the mexes before he gets killed? Will he continue on? Looks like he's going to run on past. These Thams are quite injured, so I think it's best to run past, drag Mephi's army back. And ZLO and Mephi are on the same side expansion wise and just trading shots now. Seraphim Commander has slightly less HP than the UEF, so it also benefits slightly less from veterancy and the healing you get from veterancy, and this is good for Mephi. See, ZLO's now out of the fight, and Mephi's getting free shots on tanks. Any damage these tanks are doing is basically negligible, and he's just farming vet, which is, as I just said, much better for the UEF commander. Well, slightly better for UEF commander than Seraphim. So he's pretty close to his second vet now. Killing that factory was nice as well. And ooh, this looks quite dangerous now. There's a lot of tanks coming in, and ZLO has retreated his army too far, and he's also not shooting tanks either. So not the best micro from ZLO, and now Mephi looks like he senses blood. He's moving in. ZLO's army returns, and I think ZLO will survive. The tanks, he's going to be out of range of a lot of these tanks. Oh, it's close. 700 HP, 300. He's dodging back and forth. Accidentally gives a reclaim order, and damn, he did actually die. Ooh, and Mephi only survives on 2600. Please don't quit before 10 minutes. Well, he just died. So that was interesting. This is a pretty common sort of game. Games generally don't go on very long. Usually they last a bit longer than this, but you can see ZLO is doing pretty solid there. I think towards the end he didn't have enough factories. I mean, you can see here he has similar mass, similar total mass, similar map control, and got some really nice raids in here on the right. But on the left he had less tanks, and that's just not having enough factories. I'm sure he had quite a bit of resources in the... Yeah, look here, he's trying to add the build power now. So I think Mephi just caught him at the exact right time there. He hadn't got enough build power in factories to spend his resources. And has a T2 max, which is slightly unusual for ZLO. Bit of an airbase going up at the back. So that's unfortunate. I think that was actually just the perfect time for Mephi. And ZLO's ACU just stepped out of position for a moment with his army slightly too far back, and Mephi was actually able to force him down to 0 health. And even so, I mean, that was damn close. Like Mephi was pretty low. I guess he would have had 5,000 before the ACU explosion. There you go. Just another PAMS game. The dangers of being on your opponent's side, or being on the same side as your opponent with the ACU. This is how it may end. So yeah, careful with your ACU. It's so slow that if you just out of position slightly, it can end the game. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. Go check out beta. I have some more work to do on overcharge to make sure that's working correctly in beta. I don't think it is right now, but soon it will be. And yeah, check out Patrick's video as well. It's pretty sick. See you next time.